guess that maybe you're still a little angry with me. But it's getting late and my boys are waiting. Gotta get something to eat. Better go now, hope you know now. I love you, that is a fact. Gotta hurry, but don't you worry, baby, 'cause I'll be back.
He'll be back. It's a fact.
Trust me, baby.
He'll be back.
This time I mean it.
It's a fact.
Look, the guys are waiting in the car. I gotta go.
He'll be back.
Hey,
It's a fact.
you don't have any cash, do you?
Door attack.
You know, just a 20 or something?
It's a fact.
Look, if you don't want to see me, you can slip it under the
He'll
door.
be back. It's a fact.
Can I get you anything?
He'll be back.
I'll be back.
It's a fact.
You'll see.
He'll be back. It's a fact. He'll be back.
Over the valley, I saw a silver cloud with a pink lining. I said it right out loud, there's no denying. You are my one and only love, and we'll see over the valley the moon rise above. Over the valley, this house among the trees where we've been hiding, making our memories, and I'm deciding you are my one and only love, and we'll be over the valley as the moon shines above. The autumn breezes carry all the bluebirds down to where the sun still shines. If we could hold this day in our hearts some way, we would never roam ever far from home. Over the valley, just above the fray, the sun is setting. And when we're old and gray, I'll still be betting you are my one and only love. And over the valley, the moon shines above. Autumn breezes carry all the bluebirds down to where the sun still shines. If we could hold this day in our hearts some way, we would never roam ever far from home. Over the valley, just above the fray, the sun is setting. And when we're old and gray, I'll still be betting you are my one and only love.
Good afternoon everyone, goeiemiddag dames en here, welkom by ons 11de grade plegtigheid hierdie week, amper daar. Good afternoon to everyone and welcome to this graduation ceremony, a doctoral graduation ceremony of the university. Vanweer die nasionale COVID-19 regulasies en die universiteit se gesondheids- en veiligheidsprotokolle sal hierdie geleentheid bietjie anders as gewoonlik daar uitsien. Ek het 'n langerige lys van aankondigings wat ek in belang van tyd meestal in Engels gaan oordra. Along with the rest of the country on Monday night, we paid close attention to the President's address to determine the possible impact of the newly announced COVID-19 regulations on our remaining ceremonies this week. And at a late night meeting of the organizing committee, we determined that we were indeed compliant in terms of the new limit of 100 individuals for indoor gatherings. And we've also been following very strict health and safety protocols since the first ceremony earlier this week, and you would have also experienced that coming in today. Due to these regulations and our protocols, this event has by necessity been changed to be somewhat different from our regular ceremonies. Therefore, please take note of the following. All graduands and guests have been assigned unique seat numbers. Please do not change seats as the seating record will be used in case of a potential contact tracing. Only essential staff members are required to constitute a congregation will be present at this event. Thank you for understanding that we had to limit the number of guests you could invite, unfortunately. I want you to know, to rest assured, that this hall is thoroughly cleaned and disinfected before and after each ceremony. Please note that the wearing of a mask is mandatory for both graduands and guests for the full duration of the ceremony, including when you graduands cross the stage. Please maintain a safe distance of at least 1.5 meters from others at all times, also on stage and outside in the rest of the venue. No food may be brought into or consumed in this hall, in the entrance hall. Only water is permitted inside this venue. Now to the ceremony itself. We will unfortunately not be singing the national anthem as is our custom, but only listen to an instrumental version of it directly after the procession has entered the hall. And when we get to the awarding of degrees, graduates, you will be called up onto the stage, of course, but there will not be any handshaking with the Chancellor or hooding by the registrar in order to comply with COVID-19 regulations. At the conclusion of the ceremony, ladies and gentlemen, please proceed out of this hall and out of the venue as swiftly as possible so that cleaning and sanitizing with a view to the next ceremony may commence. And by all means, capture this moment on camera and spend time with friends and family, but rather not do so in the foyer or on the steps, but inside the building, rather go outside and use the beautiful Victoria Street for your photographs. Also kindly ensure that you take along any waste items, such as water bottles, tissues, etc. when you exit the venue. Also the graduation booklet. Baie dankie vir die geduld, dames en here, met die talle aanwysings. Dis egter in ons almal se belang. Now, a piece of good news, in case you did not know this, this ceremony can be followed via live streaming over the internet from anywhere in the world. And you're welcome to share the following URL with family and friends: www.sun, that's sun.ac.za/streaming. www.sun.ac.za/streaming. Now, load shedding, if it occurs, we haven't had any indication that it will, but if it does, it may interrupt internet connectivity and therefore also the live streaming. But you will still be able to access a recording of today's ceremony afterwards on YouTube via this streaming page, the address that I've just given. It will not affect the ceremony itself, though, load shedding, if it occurs. We have a generator on standby. Just remain seated while we switch over to emergency power. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, the cell phone. Please switch it off or put it on silent for the duration of the ceremony. And if you use it to take photographs, you're welcome to, but just switch it, put it on silent so it doesn't make a noise, and also don't use the flash, please. And then, you're welcome to share your graduation experiences with the world on social media. Please use the hashtag SUGrad. Dames en here, ons is bykans gereed om met die plegtigheid te begin. Ons vra dat u sal opstaan vir die akademiese prosesie en sal bly staan tot nadat ons na die nasionale lied geluister het. Please rise for the academic procession and remain standing until we have listened to the national anthem. Thank you.
Goedemiddag, dames en heren. Good afternoon. Samunani, Dimasiari. We start with a rendition of the national anthem, an orchestral version, because of the risk of contamination. We begin ons plechtigheid vanmiddag met 'n instrumentele weergawe van die nasionale lied. Dankie, dames en heren. Sal u asseblief die sitplekke inneem. Please be seated. It's now my pleasure as Chancellor to constitute this gathering formally. Ek het nie veel magte as kanselier nie, maar een van die magte wat ek het, is dat ek hierdie kongregasie byeen kan beroep. I hereby declare that this congregation of the University of the Stellenbosch is formally constituted. Ek verklaar hiermee dat hierdie kongregasie van die universiteit behoorlik gekonstitueer word. I want to start off by reflecting on the really horrible year we've had. I became Chancellor in January, which was an enormous honor and delight and joy for me. I was looking forward to the March-April graduations. En toe kom die ramp. Die ramp wat 2 miljoen mense, 2 million people's jobs gone. Countless businesses, 350 billion rand hole in our revenue collection. Many of you had illness in your families. Perhaps some of you acquired COVID. My own sister did. She recovered, fortunately, very quickly and well. But many people died. We estimate the deaths, some estimates differ, but at least 20,000, perhaps closer to 50,000 in our country. Maar dit is nie alles sleg nie, en dis een van die redes hoekom dit nie alles sleg is nie, is dat u vanmiddag hier is. Dis 'n vreugdevolle feit dat u hier is, that you've made it here, that you finished the thesis, that you set out to complete, that you've attained your PhD degree. And I'm really very proud that we're able to celebrate that here this afternoon. That's why there's an air of formality. In die hof ook, we wear ons dra togas, we wear gowns and we dress up and we process in with formality. We ask the people present in the court to stand. En die rede is die erns van wat dan gebeur. En die erns van vanmiddag is your PhD. So that you've attained that is a wonderful thing, and I think it points the way to the future. The fact that your endurance has seen where you are this afternoon. This is the second epidemic of contagion and death in our lifetime in South Africa. Most of your parents, many of your loved ones knew the first epidemic, which is still with us, the epidemic of AIDS and HIV. I myself am living with HIV. I was diagnosed many, many years ago. I fell sick 23 years ago. I'm here because of antiretrovirals. And the lesson from that is a lesson for this current epidemic of contagion and fear and stigma and disablement, which is that our ingenuity, ons samespanning, ons same staan, ons vindingrykheid, ons vernuf, ons vasberadenheid, our determination. What beat the HIV epidemic was science. Who's a scientist here? Professor Warnig het ons wetenskaplikes vanmiddag hier. Ek is so trots. Scientists, human geneticists like Professor Warnig, epidemiologists, medical scientists created the drugs that have kept me alive. 23 years ago last month, I started ARVs. It was a miracle because for the first 16 years of the AIDS epidemic, when I was diagnosed, it was certain death. And science has brought us this year again to a turning point in an epidemic of death. But more important also were human efforts outside science. This treatment action campaign that Zaki Ahmed started took President Mbeki to court because he refused to accept the etiology of AIDS. And that brings me back to you and to your achievements, which are going to change the world. We need scientific endeavor, but we also need moral commitment. And I want us to take just a few moments where you are sitting to reflect on the grief and the hardship and the challenges of the year, but also on the opportunities for human endurance. Ook die geleenthede wat dit vir ons bied om ons vasberadenheid uit te bewys. Just where you're sitting, binne die geloofsraamwerk of die sekulêre, rasionalistiese geloofstelsel, we'll take just a few minutes to reflect. Thank you. Thank you. Dankie. It's now my pleasure to tell you that you will be welcomed also in isiXhosa by Professor Malwanda Dlali from our Department of African Languages. Ek gaan ook nou verwelkom word in isiXhosa deur Professor Malwanda Dlali van ons Departement van Afrika Tale.
Molweni manene namanenekazi. Siyanamkela kumsitho wothuso zidanga kule veki. Siyathemba ukuba olu suku luza kuba neenkumbulo ezintle kwabo baza kube bethweswa izidanga kwiintsapho zabo kunye nezihlobo ngokubanzi. Manene namanenekazi, sizama ngako konke esinako ukubiza amagama abantu ngendlela efanelekileyo. Ndiqinisekile uDean nesekela lakhe bebezama ngako konke okusemandleni ukuziqhelanisa noku, kodwa okuyinyani sinabo baza kube bethweswa izidanga, abasebenzi kunye neendwendwe ezivela kwiindawo ngeendawo ezahlukeneyo, ezineelwimi ezahlukeneyo, nezo zivela ngaphaya kwemida yaseMzantsi Afrika. Yiyo loo nto sicela ukuba nibe nenyameko kuba singakufumanisa kungumcelimngeni ukubiza amanye amagama kunye neefani. Enkosi.
Diabulele Mfundisi. I want to tell you a bit about why you're here this afternoon, because it's also a heartening story from the university side. Daar was lank onsekerheid of ons sou kon voortgaan met die gradeplegtighede in Desember. Ons het daarvoor beplan, vir die redes wat ek reeds gegee het, dat dit sulke so vreugdevolle bevestiging van alles wat die universiteit doen en waarom die universiteitsidee gaan, daarin lê. Verlede Vrydag is daar besluit dat daar wel voortgegaan sal word met erg ingekorte, severely restricted graduation ceremonies. And the Vice-Chancellor and his team decided that we would go ahead. And there was a good reason. We're having 5,701 graduations this December, but only 138 PhDs. Those are you. The other graduations, ons het 10 dae terug het ons opnames gedoen. Ek en die visie-kanselier wat aan my regterkant hier sit, Professor Wim de Villiers, en die regstateur, Dr. Ronel Retief. Ons het opnames gedoen en die ander kandidate ontvang hulle grades online. But we wanted to go ahead with your graduation, and the reason is important. It's that the essence of a university's output lies in the intellectual and academic exertion, the synthesis, the contribution to knowledge that a PhD represents. Dit is hoekom ons vanmiddag hier saam met u is, dat u iets unieks bereik het, dat u 'n bydrae gemaak het aan die mense kennis, aan ons insig, en dit is natuurlik op hierdie stadium in ons bestaan in die wêreld. Ek het skielik vergeet wat die woord vir civilization is. Dis beskawing, is dit nie? In ons beskawing. See, words fail even a lawyer. Dankie vir die geduld. So, ons het voortgegaan, maar toe maandag aand het president Ramaphosa nuwe erger inperkings aangekondig. The president announced even stricter restrictions on Monday evening, and again, we were in doubt as to whether we could go ahead. Dr. Retief was waiting with her team at 9 o'clock on Monday evening. They worked until 12 midnight. I hope that you received an email at 12 midnight. I hope it pinged in your inbox and woke you up. Just to say that we were going to go ahead. And it's wonderful to see you all. Ek is verheug om julle almal vandag te sien. Ons is minder as 100. Ons is binne die regsperk. And we rejoice in the fact that you are here, that your loved ones and families and supervisors are here. En ons gaan nou oor na die vreugdevolle aspek van ons plegtigheid vanmiddag. We will now go over to the important part, which is you. But before we do that, I want to ask you to join me in a wonderful part of your affirmation, which is to recognize the importance of your supervisors. Would you like to do that? Let me tell you why. We've got 10 duties of a supervisor in ons akademiese reglemente. 10 pligte wat akademiese studieleier moet volvoer. I won't go into them all, but in essence, your supervisors offer you a depth of academic leadership, example, encouragement, but also a moral leadership as well. They've been there. They've achieved what you are setting out to achieve, what you aspire to achieve. And by their presence, they inspire you. They also correct footnotes. Who got it correct? Did you get a spelling mistake corrected, ma'am? You did, yeah, spelling mistakes as well. So please, all the supervisors, would you mind to stand, please? And let's applaud them. Thank you so much. And let us also give a special round of applause to a distinguished member of the executive who is your dean, Professor Louise Warnig. Thank you. You can see what a modest scientist Professor Warnig is. She remained seated when I was inviting her to say, "Ek terg vir die bietjie, Louise. Baie dankie." Let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to give the podium to Professor Warnig now, and with the assistance of our ushers, you're going to process across the stage. You will come here after your name and your dissertation and your supervisor is read out, and we won't shake hands, but we will acknowledge each other. I've also been told, the first graduation on Monday morning, ek het hier gestaan toe sê die fotograaf vir my dat al die fotograwe foto's van die PhD's uitgekom het met my maag. So they asked me to sit down. So I'll be sitting down so that we'll both be in the photograph. And then I want to ask you something. Remember the darkest moment, onthou die smartvolste, die pynvolste oomblik van hierdie PhD van hier, the time of greatest difficulty. You're here this afternoon to celebrate the fact that you persisted. We're recording it. It's going out live on the web. You can clip later for TikTok or for Instagram or for WhatsApp. Ja, ek hoop jy gaan dit doen. I can see you're going to do it, man. So wave to your family, wave to the people. Maandagmiddag het ek die landbouers probeer oorreed om miskien 'n dans te doen. And I got a blikoog. In Afrikaans we say I got a tin eye from the landbouers, the agriculturalists. And then yesterday I asked the engineers of paar van hulle nie dalk 'n dans wil doen nie. And again I got very skeptical. But this morning, someone from the commerce faculty did a very quick dance. So, Professor Warnig, are we going to get one of your distinguished PhDs? Just a little dance. It's your moment. Don't hurry it. It's your moment of pride and joy, and we are so pleased to be sharing it with you. Thank you. Dean?
Mr. Chancellor, I request you to acknowledge the following candidates who graduated in March 2020 with a doctoral qualification. These candidates will cross the stage for ceremonial purposes only. Liam Baker with dissertation, Drinfeld modular forms of higher rank from a lattice-orientated point of view. Supervision was provided by Dr. Dirk Passon. Dr. Baker is also a staff member in the Division of Mathematics. Lisa Barnard with dissertation and investigation into the biosynthesis, metabolism and activity of 11 oxygenated estrogens. Supervision was provided by Professor Karl Storbeck. Isabella Claessens with dissertation Structure Property Relationships in Stimulus Responsive Cadmium and Zinc-Based Metal Organic Frameworks. Supervision was provided by Professor Delia Haynes.
Welcome, Isabella.
Marike du Plessis with dissertation Guest Uptake in Porous Metallocyclic Host Compounds. Supervision was provided by Professor Len Barber.
Welcome.
Koketsu Mukwera with dissertation Membrane Permeability and Transport Studies of Coenzyme A, its precursors and anti-metabolites. Supervision was provided by Professor Eric Strauss.
Congratulations, Professor. Yeah.
Wilma van Rensburg with dissertation, the tyrosidine's integration of antimicrobial cellulose and sterilizing materials. Supervision provided by Professor Marina Rautenbach.
Baie geluk.
Meneer die kanselier, ek versoek u om die graad dokter in die wysbegeerte in die fakulteit Natuurwetenskappe aan die kandidate wat ek aan u voorstel te verleen. Mr. Chancellor, I request you to confer on the candidates whom I'll present to you the degree Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Science. Elisha Are with dissertation, Extinction Probabilities for Tsetse Glossina species in a World of Changing Climate. Supervision was provided by Professor John Hargrove.
Congratulations, Elisha.
Monique Barnard with dissertation, An Investigation into the role of 11 oxygenated androgens in castration-resistant prostate cancer. Supervision was provided by Professor Carl Storbeck. Martinus Botus with dissertation, The Development of Nitrogen Functionalized 4-azopodophylotoxins as Novel Anti-Cancer Agents. Supervision was provided by Professor Willem van Otterloo.
Baie geluk, Martinus.
Wesley Carl Feldman with dissertation, Thermal Management of Porous Materials. The supervisor was Professor Len Barber.
Baie geluk, Wesley.
John Lombard with dissertation, Elective Synthesis of Multi-Component Crystals using Mechanochemistry and Sublimation. Supervision was provided by Dr. Tanya Leroux. Fakri Majid with dissertation, Evaluation of the Dynamic Fracture Characteristics of Shaped Charged Jets at different strain rates as known initial liner and explosive microstructures. Supervision was provided by Dr. Frikkie Mostert.
Baie geluk, Vergiet.
Jordan Masakuna with dissertation, Active Strategies for Coordination of Solitary Robots. The supervisor was Dr. Sumukai Utete.
Congratulations, Jordan.
Brendan Pierce with dissertation, Solvent Extraction and Selective Separation of Base Metal Ions by means of pyrazole and imidazole pyridodyl ligands. Supervisor was Dr. Robbie Lakay.
Well done, Brendan.
Dewald van Heerden with dissertation, Computational Assessment and Visualization of Gas Inclusion in Porous Crystalline Materials. Supervision was provided by Professor Len Barber.
Geluk, Dewald.
Desmarie van Rooyen with dissertation, An Investigation into the Biosynthesis and Metabolism of Adrenal Carbon-11 Oxysteroids. Supervision was provided by Professor Amanda Swart.
Geluk, Dewald.
Zanel Victor with dissertation, Multidimensional Fractionation of Complex Polymers by Comprehensive Online Coupled Thermal Field Flow Fractionation and Size Exclusion Chromatography. Supervision was provided by Professor Harold Pash.
Baie geluk, Sanel.
Another staff member in the Department of Mathematical Sciences, Leslie Wessels, with dissertation on contributions to near vector spaces and graphs thereof. Supervision was provided by Dr. Karen Hell.
Baie geluk, Sanel.
Meneer die kanselier, ek versoek u om aan die kandidaate wie se name ook aan die voorgelê is, maar wat nie hier teenwoordig is nie, die onderskeie grade in hulle afwesigheid te verleen. Mr. Chancellor, I request you to confer the degrees on those candidates whose names have been presented to you, but who could not attend in their absence.
Thank you, Madam Dean. Ek verleen aan die kandidaate wie se naam aan my voorgelees, maar wat afwesig is, die onderskeie grade wat hulle verwerf het. In their absence, I confer degrees in absentia on those candidates whose names have been placed before me in the appropriate awards. Wel, dames en here, ons het nou die einde bereik. Ek hoop jy dit geniet. Did you enjoy it? Yes, thank you. The reason you enjoyed it is that we enjoyed it, and we are so proud of you. We want you to remain connected with the university. I was here on this campus many, many years ago. You want to know how many years ago? Say no. Long, long, long ago. Before Professor Warnig, wel, nie voor die gebore is nie, maar lang terug, voor u. And I want to tell you that I was at school in Pretoria, then I went from Stellenbosch abroad, but my important human connections were formed in the 4.5 years that I was here. Van my diepste verbintenisse en vriendskappe is hier gevorm, en van my kosbaarste herinneringe, my most precious memories. So, you have an extra reason to come back, that you can be examples to the next generation of students, that you graduated in this terrible year. You finished your theses, you completed them in time for March, you completed them in time for December. So stay involved as an alumnus. We are very proud of you. You should be proud of Stellenbosch. Keep Stellenbosch, behoud dit as 'n instelling waarop u trots is. Help to keep it as an institution in which you can invest your pride. We have alumni hubs all over the world, and then we have My Marties Connect, which you can join, you can put your CV up there, you can see other CVs, you can see what your contemporaries are doing, you can look for jobs there, and you can network. So please do all of that. Having said all of that, I have only one duty left, which is to exercise my further power to close this congregation. And I do so with great pride in all of your achievements. When I've finished it in Afrikaans and English, I'm going to ask you to stand. Ek vra dat u staan, totdat ons die verhoog verlaat het, om die plegtigheid, die plegtige aard van die plegtigheid te onderskaaf, to fittingly mark the solemnity with which we have honored your achievement this afternoon. Please remain standing till we've left. And now, by virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor, I declare that this congregation of the University of Stellenbosch is closed. Kragtens die magte wat aan my toevertrou word as kanselier, verklaar ek hiermee dat hierdie kongregasie van die universiteit gesluite is. Baie dankie.